G'day everyone, we've got another Windjet installation. This time we're working on a 2013 to 2015 Honda Civic Sedan, the 4-door version, and we have our awesome fog lights here with our included bezel covers. These things are going to add some nice punch of illumination. It's a bit of an install though, so let's get started.
Our installation starts in the hood, where we need to remove some of the OEM plastic guards to gain the access that we're going to need later. Starting with this plastic trim in the hood, it has 8 clips and 2 screws that will need to be removed. Make quick work of the clips with a tool, and then use another tool to remove the screws. After that, the plastic guard should slide on out, and now we're one step closer to removing the entire OEM front bumper. We're heading to the wheel well, where we need to remove this fender liner. There's one screw tucked away in here that will need to be removed. It's a small screw and shouldn't take any time at all. Now we can remove this large plastic OEM underguard piece. It has 8 points to remove that includes 2 screws on each end. Simply notch out the clips just as before. There's one more clip to remove right on the edge of the bumper next to the wheel well. Remove this clip from each side. Again, remove the small screw tucked under the liner on this side as well. And then from this point we can start to gently pull out the bumper piece. Take your time here. Start from each side of the bumper and work your way in, pulling from the top to detach the mounting points. The bumper will start to detach completely, and it's helpful to have an extra hand for this part. Now we're heading to the workbench to prepare our bumper. We'll be replacing these OEM bezel covers. Each of them is mounted by a series of tabs around the sides and by one screw on each. Begin by removing the screw. Then use a tool to carefully release all of the tabs. As you release them, you'll start to be able to gradually push out the OEM bezel cover. Next, we need to release the tabs on the silver bar holding the 2 fog lights as shown. The trick here is to pry out the 2 inner tabs, holding it at each point along the bar. You'll also need to tension with your other hand to keep pushing the OEM bezel cover out as you do this. Work your way along the bar, releasing each set of inner tabs as you go. Once all of the tabs on the middle bar are removed, you can move on to the other OEM bezel cover. Simply remove the screw and all of the tabs, and this bezel cover, along with the middle bar and the other bezel cover, should pop out from the back. We're now left with just 3 pieces. We can replace the OEM bezel cover with our sleek aftermarket bezels. First, we need to separate this chrome bar from the bezel cover pieces. Firmly press on this screw piece as you pry these tabs away. Take your time and the OEM bezel cover should come right off. Repeat this process on the other side and you'll be ready to install your new bezel covers. Now we can simply just snap these pieces back together with a bit of force. Ensure that everything is tightly secured and repeat the process on the other side. These new bezel covers are looking ready, and it's time to secure them back onto the front bumper. Align all of the tabs and push your new bezel covers into place. Really take the time to ensure that all of your tabs are tightly secured, and those on the center bar as well. Screw and tighten in those last 2 points and your front bumper is about ready. Let's talk about the included wiring bundle for a moment. We have the main bundle, the extension wire, the switch wiring, the switch unit itself, and the wiretapping tool. Taking a closer look at the main bundle, we have the 2 yellow direct connectors for the fog lights. These just plug straight in the back as shown. With the 2 connectors plugged in, what we have left is a set of positive and negative wires and an extension wire. Now this black wire serves as a ground wire and can actually be secured to any metal screw on the chassis of the vehicle. The red wire is hooked up directly to the battery's positive terminal. The yellow wire will be plugged into the red extension wire to allow it to reach the interior of the vehicle. Connected into the switch wiring bundle. With the wiring fully extended, the area of the yellow and black wiring will be in the engine bay, whereas the red part of the wire will be in the interior of the vehicle. In the interior, the switch wiring bundle includes this one green connector, one red skinny wire, and one black skinny wire. The green connector connects into our switch unit. The red wire will connect to the accessory power source. We recommend a cigarette lighter or the windshield wiper. The black wire connects to any exposed metal screw in the chassis, which will likely be under your dashboard. We've also included a wire tapping tool to connect into the existing accessory power wire. The last part of the wire is the fuse and the relay. Nothing needs to be handled on these pieces other than securing them cleanly to the inside of the engine area. And that wraps up the entire included wiring setup for the Honda Civic. We're now ready to install this wiring onto the car. So we start by laying out the black wire for the yellow connectors to be in position to plug into the fog lights. Now we have the red wire with the relay and the fuse on one side, and the ground wire and the yellow wire on the other side. We need to connect the black wire to the ground terminal of the car's battery, and the red wire on the other side to the positive terminal. With these two wires secured, all that remains is the yellow wire. We need to shimmy the yellow wire from the engine bay through the firewall and into the interior. That's when this red extension wire comes into play. Plug it into the yellow wire so we can extend it through the firewall behind the engine. To get it through, we also need to remove a part of this inner liner for a moment. There are several clips to remove on this part of the liner that can be easily notched out. Removing this part will give us access to this top point with the black plastic seal. Popping this off will allow for the wire to be run into the cab. So now we just have to fish the red extension wire down into the wheel well. Drop it down through this opening and carefully feed it into the cab opening. Afterwards, we do recommend plugging the black plastic seal back on to keep the cabin sealed from the engine bay. We can now finish the wiring within the interior of the Civic, where you'll see the red wire popping out from under the driver's side dash area. Now we can go ahead and remove this cover panel. There are 5 clips holding the panel on. Be careful, as there could be a wire already connected for the traction control that might disrupt your access. Disconnect it for a moment, then push out the original switch cover and replace it with our new switch unit. The new switch should easily push in and lock itself into the frame. Now we can deal with the last part in the interior, the switch wiring. Plug the green connector into the back of the new switch unit. Lastly, to complete the interior wiring, we have these 3 connectors. Run the red extension wire through the dash and connect it to the yellow wire. The black wire is the ground, and the red wire will be hooked up to the fuse box. We do include this wire tapper to help with this part. Another option is to separately purchase this piggy wire fuse adapter from any auto parts store. This red wire will need to be connected to a suitable power source. We can then secure our black wire to any exposed metal screw on the chassis. We recommend this screw here that can be found under the driver's side dash. Once these last wires are connected, your new switch unit should be lighting up, indicating that our work in the interior is complete. Now is a good time to clean up all of your wires under the hood. Grab some handy zip ties and make it clean. The very last wires to hook up are these dangling direct connectors for the new fog lights. We're finally ready to reinstall the OEM front bumper. Having an extra hand here really helps out. Really take your time here aligning and locking in all of the clips. Make sure it's all solid and aligned perfectly. Then it's just a matter of taking these direct connectors and plugging them straight into the back of the new fog lights on each side. The last step is to reattach all of the OEM guard pieces we took off in the very beginning. Carefully and tightly resecure all of the clips and screws on these pieces. With the engine area now finished and looking clean, we are finally ready. With the press of a button, you can enjoy your new upgrade and give yourself a good pat on the back. Well done.
And that wraps up the installation on our 2013 to 2015 Honda Civic Sedan here. Your car should be looking amazing with a new set of aftermarket fog lights. Now this installation does take a moment, so take your time, do it right. We'll see you next time.